Where did my button go? Welcome back. Welcome back to another stream. It's Monday. Oh my God, everybody. Am I supposed to be high energy? I'm supposed to be high energy. Oh, I'm freaking out. Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? It is a wild Monday out here in the west coast of these United States where I live. It is raining and raining and raining and raining and raining and raining and raining. And I know a lot of you out there that have never been to the Pacific Northwest, you probably see on the news or whatever TV show you watch or whatever it is that, hey man, it's always raining out there in rainy Seattle. But always as a reminder, I like to tell people that, like, hey, we've got the same amount of rainy and overcast days as Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is like, we got the same thing. We got the same thing. So, yes, it does rain here. We do have overcast days here. But this is not normal. And boy, howdy, it has been raining for days now. Today is day 3 of excessive rain. I said, I believe between Saturday night and Monday, we're supposed to have gotten 5 inches of rain, which is kookaloo. It's bonkers. It's not normal. So we're doing what we're doing here. We're doing what we're doing around these parts, and just attempting to stay dry. But boy, howdy, I tell you, it's like if you've ever been in a downpour in like Hawaii or Florida, it's been like that for days now, and it's cold. The big difference there is that it's cold. It's only like 48 degrees or something, which is not freezing, but still, it's okay. Yeah, anyhow, that's your weather update for Monday, the 28th of February. Welcome to February, folks. It's over tomorrow. Tomorrow is March 1st. We'll be entering the 3rd month of this year. We're entering the 3rd month of this year, the year 2022. And immediately, we have entered the politics talk. The politics zone from the chat. Beta Splenda says it's wilder for the fish keepers in Ukraine. Yes, I agree. It is wilder for the fish keepers in Ukraine. Shout out to everybody in Ukraine. I have some words. It's a little bit chaos, and it's difficult to comment on something in the format that I have here because I would need to talk about it for a really long time. And then typically what happens is somebody will point out that I mentioned something inaccurate, right, as I go through stream of consciousness, jibber jabber, and they'll be like, oh my God, you're such an idiot. You don't even know anything about it. I'm certainly not the most learned of, USSR being dismantled and all of that, but I was alive for it. So I do know a fair bit. I was alive when that happened. I was alive when these countries separated, when the USSR fell and collapsed, and it's something that I know a fair bit about. But my shout out goes to Ukraine and the generations there that are willing to stand up to the oligarch Putin, which is just, that guy sucks, honestly. And one of the notes I had here about Ukraine from something that I'm writing on is that Putin had 2 choices. He had one of 2 choices at this juncture in time. He could have chosen to just allow people to live the way that they want to live, right? Because Ukraine wants to be a free democratic society. They wanted to join NATO. He could have just let them join or invade. Those were basically his 2 choices at this point. And I'll leave it up to you, the viewer, if you want to decide which of those choices is better. In my opinion, the allowing other countries to live the way that they want to live, especially when it comes to just, joining NATO and being a democratic country. I feel like you just let them do that. Just let them do that. Take the ego hit, and move on. But yes, it is more difficult for people in Ukraine. And my heart goes out to them. I hope that everybody makes it out safe. I hope that Russia gets kicked out of there. I don't want anybody to die. I'm an anti-war person. I hope you guys know that. I am against war, which is a bold position to take, But obviously, when another country is aggressing on another country, I take the side of the people defending, Ramu Bynum says, in my opinion, Ukraine crisis is the fault of the United States. I guess by the standard that the United States was in a Cold War with Russia or with the USSR, I would agree. Yeah. Okay. Sure. It's been an ongoing situation for more than just this last year. So, I would like people to take that into consideration. Yeah. And Rommel says, we as a country should leave NATO. I would disagree. I mean, I have a pretty strong disagreement with that. The motivations of people wanting NATO to go away are... I have to question that a little bit, but, I disagree. I guess that's the best that I can do. Anyhow... we're going to move on today's topic. I know that everybody wants to talk about Ukraine and Russia and war and all that great stuff. But I did title the stream something about fish today. So we're going to talk about that at least for a while because, well, as they say, this is my show. So we get to do what we get to do. So we'll take a sideline for that. Until 3 o'clock. Right now it's 2:10 p.m. So we are going to we're just gonna leave that to the side until 3 o'clock, and we're gonna talk about considering polyculture for your breeding, for your aquarium breeding projects, things that are going on. That most people that are here have some kind of project going on. To highlight something in the banner up in here. We shall discuss what this in the chat is. There's a join button where you can join up and become a YouTube member. This channel really only operates because people sponsor it. Them's the rules. And a big shout out to the 77 YouTube members who sponsor this channel. And can I do the math today in my head? Probably not. I always think like, wow, boy, I'm such a super smarty pants. But I'm like trying to do math on the fly while operating a live stream and talking and all of that in my head is a little bit goofy. As you can see, I have refreshed the numbers. We lost a patronizer and we lost a YouTube member. So, gosh, what is... Is it 219? I swear it's 219. 77 plus 142, right? It's 219? Okay, good. I was about to update it. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy who can't add simple numbers. Oh, my God. Okay, there we go. 219. So we're 219. What is this goal up here? We have 219 YouTube members and patrons to get to the moist tattoo. And what is the moist tattoo? It's a joke. It's a joke. If we get to 500 people sponsoring the channel, we will get the moist tattoo. I'll get moist tattooed on me. Why not? Hey, is it a goal? Who knows? Who knows? Why not? Why not? Why not? I think it's hilarious. And if it inspires people to sponsor the channel, then cool. Why not? I've already got lots of tattoos, so it's not like it's not an inaugural tattoo or anything like that. Yeah. Yes. drink of water here. We got to have a drink of water because, we're aquarists around here. We're going to stay hydrated, Oh, my God. The Amazon Research Center has already answered the polyculture question, which is great. That's pretty much, just to highlight this comment right here, is pretty much exactly what I was going to jump into here. Polyculture, it's the breeding methodology of breeding two managed species together for the benefit of both. And it doesn't necessarily need to be in a tank. This actually can be done out in the wild. Oh, that's right. Hold on a second before we jump fully knee deep into polyculture. Hit that like button, because I'm supposed to do that, and subscribe or whatever, because we're on YouTube. And I have to do all of this stuff where I go like, hey, do you want to sponsor the channel? Hey, do you want to hit the like button? Hey, do you want to become a subscriber? Hey, do you want to do it? And by the way, I don't ever want to do that. I really don't. And I've mentioned it before, which inspires people to get super sass mouth with me about me having criticized other people that are constantly trying to get money. Because in the past, many years ago, I had mentioned I had problems with how people fundraised for their YouTube channel. Okay? And the problem is that I had spoken about it in a very vague manner. I didn't make it specific on who I was talking about, but I was having a general criticism for how some people fundraised for their channel. And when it comes down to exploiting your children or family members, I hate that. Exploiting, the exploitation of other people, all that kind of stuff. That's what I was opposed to at the time. And the fact that there are a lot of people out there that don't make it public, that don't make their fundraising public, like their Patreon is all secret, I think you guys have seen that before, where you go to somebody's Patreon and you go, oh, they have like 500 patrons. What does that equal out to? I don't know how much this person's making. It's very interesting. Or they have something like, oh, send me some money in my PayPal, which is like, how does anybody ever verify like what kind of stuff you're collecting? How much money are you collecting? What's going on here? And those were a lot of my criticisms at the time. And also people that are promoting drop shipping fish and plants and stuff like that, which I don't believe is a good business practice, even when it comes to dry goods. Like, I don't know, is there something around here? Like, if you order scissors from somebody and they are playing the middleman game and marking you up money, I don't even think that that's appropriate. But, some people get it worked up in their head. And I think people may or may have gotten a little bit confused about my stance on certain things. It's like, yeah, I'm not able to do a YouTube channel if people don't support it. Like, that's a reality. And that's a reality for pretty much everybody out there. Unless you have like a network TV show or something like that. But then you're just being supported by a company, okay? So I'm not mad at people for earning a living. I'm mad at people when they earn a living in a dishonest manner. So maybe that's a better way to explain it. Anyhow, yeah, we definitely wanted to hit the 500 number because we want to hit the 1,000 number. That's where we're headed to. Okay, back to polyculture. Okay, so as explained before, and I'll go over my own I wrote out a little blurb here on like what polyculture is. This isn't the specific definition from any dictionary. It's just what I wrote down. Polyculture is the breeding methodology of breeding two managed species together for the benefit of both. Now, there's some key elements here to what I wrote out. And it's a breeding methodology of two managed species together, okay? That's where the really key element that people need to kind of pay attention to with polyculture. It's not a matter of we just put these two critters together and they will just benefit, period, right? Unfortunately, to my knowledge, which doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but to my knowledge, There isn't two vastly different species of animals that or organelle. I don't know how you want to put it. That are just going to play off of each other without external management, right? So, excuse me, I got the phlegm. Like the air around here has been super dry. I think it's because it's raining out, and then the furnace is running. I don't know. But needless to say, the biggest point to really kind of like bring to the table here is that it's managed by human beings, right? Like, this isn't something that you just throw some shrimp in a tank, throw some fish in that same tank, and then just sort of disregard everything that is going on. The managing factor is what needs to come into play here. Now, the reason for that also is that if this is a style of aquaculture, it means that humans are doing it for some reason. It could be financial profit. It could be for environmental impact, for repairing certain environments that have lost the species in them. But regardless of that, it's humans that are actually managing this for some reason. You could just be farming a whole bunch of species. You could be farming a whole bunch of volume of whatever critter for whatever your reason is. Typically, it's applied for the financial gain, right? Now, that's to hit fish markets or shrimp markets or any of that kind of stuff. What inspired this is that just a while ago, so anybody that likes to read, I don't know if any of y'all like to read. Every time I post a book for you guys to buy, you guys never buy it, so I don't even know. But this is the article. I don't know if this is like the actual site that the article is off, but I found it on here. It might be on a different. This might be like an aggregating site. I'm not sure, but anyhow, this is the article that sort of spawned me jumping into kind of thinking about it for, an application here in the U.S. versus an application overseas. So what was found here is essentially that barramundi and tiger prawns. If you guys are familiar with the two, I'm not going to say the Latin because I always screw it up, and then I get an email later or somebody that's like, you should learn how to pronounce words, and I'm like, this is a good waste of my time. Anyhow, you guys know what tiger prawns are. You guys know what barramundis are. You guys are smart. You guys are around. You guys know what's up. Now, typically, people would think that barramundis are going to eat all of the tiger prawns because you've seen them gulp up stuff. But the reality is, as found by this farmer, and I can't remember the farmer's name, so I'm going to try and look it up here. I didn't save the farmer's name, and of course I can't find it right now. But this article will run you through the basic breakdown of just this idea. You could really read this article. It takes about 10 minutes to read, if that, and then you can find it. I can't remember. I can't find the farmer's name. I should have highlighted it or something. But that's my bad and my apologies. If you guys read through it and you find it, post them in the chat. Anyhow, Mawardi. I think that's. I may have found it with my brain. That might just be like their last name or their first name. I don't know. Where did it go? This is kind of pissing me off now. Oh, Lord. They just keep using I think that's his last name, or maybe it's their first name. I don't know. Well, either way. I thought it was going to be super easy to find this farmer's name. Oh my God. Oh, here it is. Abdul Waris Mawardi. Okay. And then they were using his last name this whole time. Here we go. That's the guy. There. He basically found out that through polyculture and utilizing some of the polyculture practices, which is like I said, it has to be managed by people. You can't just throw stuff into a tank and then walk away and be like, oh, I'll come back and it'll be super successful. Like, you need to engage with this project. So if you're somebody who's like not going to engage with the project specifically, then it's probably not for you. You probably have to go back to your bare bottom tanks with a spawning mop and an air stone in it, and just leave it like that, right? But if you are somebody who's engaged, this polyculture is probably going to be something interesting to you, and it's probably something that you could apply. And to kind of jump back into the specifics of that article, you would think that the barramundi were going to eat the tiger prawns. The tiger prawns would be gone, and that's that. As it turns out, the barramundi are actually preying on enough stuff throughout. They actually breed in ponds there. But throughout the pond, enough of the predators of the tiger prawns and to allow the tiger prawns to grow, and it actually kind of applies a little bit of pressure to the tiger prawns to breed more prolifically and grow faster, which is something that I accidentally experienced probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. I don't know when I kind of figured this out by the standard of breeding shrimp in planted aquariums, and how much more beneficial that is when you have other fish in the tank. For the longest time, everybody always said, you don't put fish in with your shrimp because they're going to get eaten. And, 10, 15 years ago, I was like, oh, you got to set up these tanks. The only thing that we kind of knew back then as Americans was, kind of seeing images of what was happening in Asia as far as these specific shrimp that we were trying to get were basically a whole bunch of empty tanks with shrimp in them, and they're being fed, and that was it. And just racks and racks of tanks with just shrimp in the tanks, and that's all that they were doing. Whereas when I found out here, I started to put the shrimp into planted tanks with other fish. The shrimp actually started breeding a lot more, and a lot more frequently. And I was seeing like a lot more, I guess the best way to put it would be I was seeing a lot more production out of my shrimp and having more full-grown-ish, young full-grown shrimp, as opposed to the tanks that didn't have anything else in them, and I was just breeding shrimp in basically, a tank with a little bit of substrate and an air stone in it, and like some moss and algae and stuff, but like nothing really set up as far as those tanks go. And the big thing is that a while ago, I had seen this documentary about when the rats start breeding out of control because their food source is super high. I forget what that documentary was. Rats in like there's a documentary on when the rat attack. Here it is. And it's like a National Geographic. Oh my God, it's auto-playing. Hey, stop that. That's a YouTube video. I'm just trying to click on the rat attack. Is it Nova? Oh, that's weird. National Geographic is carrying it, but I think it was a PBS doc. Let's see. Okay, load. Sorry guys, the PBS website just loads super slowly. Load. Why are you not loading? I'm just getting a white screen. Okay, goofy. Yeah, it's called Rat Attack documentary. Hold on. Rat Attack documentary. Maybe we can just get the Wikipedia. It's a PBS doc that came out in 2017, 2009. When did this come out? Like, just be simple. work. It's just so frustrating when you're trying to like do a thing and you're like, oh, let me look this up real quick. But yet you can't because 2009. This page isn't working. Why? Why is it not working? Oh, now it works. God, what the... Okay. And this documentary highlights every 48 years, swarms of rodents invade homes and attack crops in northeastern Indian state of Mizoram. I'm probably saying that wrong, but this is a crazy documentary. I highly recommend you watch it. So maybe my timelines are a little bit off because this came out in 2009. So maybe it was like 2013 or 2012 or something like that I was figuring off of this documentary, like what was going on with the shrimp breeding, is that I was going, oh, because these rats have like this unlimited food supply, they start breeding like crazy, right? And one thing that I've noticed is that even if you just have something like guppies in a tank with the shrimp colony and you're feeding the guppies to get the guppies to breed, even just the leftover food and the guppy poop is sort of adding this extra food for the shrimp to always have some kind of food source, right? They're either going to be feeding off of the fish poop, the biofilm from all of the fish poop, the fish food that is left over, or the shrimp food that you're feeding, right? So it's this same sort of thing as far as I can tell, just being an average person. I haven't conducted a study around this or anything like that, but being an average person and seeing now that people are starting to bring some of this stuff to the table as far as like maybe getting a study going, I'm intrigued by it. I hope to see more evidence research and stuff other than just these random articles that seem to be popping up of people having success farm more, right? But at the time, back then, I was coming to the conclusion of like, oh, wow, I'm increasing all of the food sources for something like shrimp. I'm also putting a little bit of pressure on the shrimp in the fact that some of the shrimp are probably getting eaten every once in a while by some of the guppies even, right? To the point that they're probably going to breed more often. So they have lots of food, which means they're probably going to breed. They have clean water because I'm doing water changes and also maintaining the cycle within the tank so that water quality is most likely right in their happy range. And because of the kind of like added filtration and the kind of added care, you're always sort of landing in that good water quality for the shrimp. Then they're also on top of it, you're realistically eliminating some of the shrimp. So the food, the water quality, and then some of them getting eaten is probably contributing to the shrimp more aggressively breeding. So instead of getting probably between 12 and 14 throws from your shrimp, you're probably getting 20 or 22, which doesn't seem like this insane increase. But if you have 100 shrimp that are all buried and ready to give birth to some little shrimplets, now all of a sudden there's much bigger population. And if that much bigger population is the starting line, you're probably going to get more females reaching maturity to get, and it's going to continue and continue and continue. Now here comes the management side of it. The humans have to manage these breeding projects because your brain is billions of times larger than any guppy, right? Probably trillions, probably zillion. I don't even know if is zillion even a number? Probably not. But you understand, you're wildly smarter than a fish, right? The reason that this stuff needs to be managed is because when we allow nature to manage our aquariums for us, we get what we call negative outcomes. The outcomes are not going to they're not going to provide the positive results that we as humans are looking for. Now, the positive results will be natural. They'll be nature's results, right? But typically, one of the colonies will collapse because you can't necessarily maintain without outside management. Outside management looks like culling. Okay, you're going to take out some of the shrimp that are in there, and you're going to take out some of the fish that are in there because you want to continue to maintain healthy population, because you know you're the person providing the food, you're the person providing the maintenance, you're providing water, blah, blah, blah. All of that kind of stuff is coming from you. If you allow it all to self-manage is when you start to get negative results. Now, this obviously applies to any of the fish tanks that you have. And I've talked about this till I was basically blue in the face over and over and over again, is that the humans have to manage these ecosystems that you build. If you're planning on an ecosystem that is going to maintain itself, prepare yourself for a lot of disappointment in the fact that nature is going to cycle through a bunch of stuff that you probably don't really enjoy as a person. You often see these things like the Ecospheres, right, where people will make a sealed container and it will continue to, air quote, grow for a really long time. Typically, the pictures that you see when people show off their ecosphere is when it's green and lush and happy. But then it also goes through months and months and months of a period of rotting and decay and then starting to grow again, right? We're aware of the seasons, right? And when you end up with a closed container like that, you are definitely going through all 4 seasons. So that's the reason that I always kind of talk about human intervention, being a requirement for any of these systems to positively work. Otherwise, they'll just collapse if allowed to be on their own, because you need to feed them. You need to do water changes. You need to maintain them and make sure that things are going the direction that you want them to go in. Now, if the direction is that you want them to go in is just to observe the natural process and the ebb and flow of colonies living and dying and stuff like that, that will happen if you just don't intervene at all. So if that's your goal, cool. I feel like I put in the title about breeding projects that the typical person is trying to breed a higher volume, and they're trying to breed a better quality. So most humans are trying to achieve those 2 goals. And if you're trying to achieve those 2 goals, you're going to need to intervene. That article I linked kind of describes a lot of the interaction with the specific Barramundi and the tiger shrimp, which most people, especially in the United States, but most people aren't breeding Barramundi and tiger shrimp, right? So that's kind of the it should it's kind of like the explanation, but it also should just kind of be your jump off point as to where you're going and you want to apply this stuff to your situation. At the time, many years ago, I was dealing with betas and I was dealing with crystal shrimp. So Caridina shrimp those were the 2 that I was really kind of focused on, especially for a long period of time. And the thing that I was definitely coming out with was those 2 aspects were a higher volume and a better quality. And one of those reasons has a lot to do with the beta fish that I was doing these with. The beta fish would eat the shrimp that were just not likely to make it. And if there were shrimp that didn't make it, that's easy pickings for a beta fish to come by and just give a little chomp chomp on a essentially dead shrimp, right? Now, the great thing that I was doing, or the great thing about betas with the fish that with the shrimp that I was breeding, lost, was the fact that, beta fish are so resilient that if the pH is a little bit low for them, if the pH was a little bit low for them, betta fish are normally not bothered by that. If the temperature is reasonable for them, they're really not bothered by that. You know, bettas are labyrinth gill fish, so they can go breathe air. If there's ever anything that's kind of making them feel uncomfortable, they have generally an ability to kind of deal with it. Now, obviously, you don't want the tank to be super cold or crazy low pH or any of that kind of stuff, but one of the big issues I was dealing with was crystal shrimp with guppies, because as you guys know, I have a powerful lust for guppies. I love guppies. I love them to death. I don't necessarily ever really realistically want to admit that because, guppies are so common, but I love them. I think they're fantastic. And the big problem with Caridina shrimp and guppies was that the pH was too low. There's not enough minerals in the water, blah, 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 blah. And the guppy fish would just slowly but surely go away. But one of my shrimp tanks, especially at the time, that had guppies in it that was doing well, actually had some rocks in it that was leaching minerals into the water. So then it was like, okay, so the guppies are doing well because you need a little bit harder water than my water here. My water here is like dead flat, soft water, right? So I had some rocks that were leaching into the water and bringing the hardness up, and it actually worked out really well for Neocaridina shrimp. So cherry shrimp actually worked out as a real perfect polyculture situation without really even kind of knowing the definition of what it was that we were doing. But that's the reality of what it ended up coming out to. Aqua Blue Bear says, what shrimp do you find easier to keep, saltwater shrimp or freshwater shrimp? Freshwater. Although I will say this, that saltwater shrimp are super easy to keep if you have the tank for them. The saltwater shrimp are easier to take care of if you have an established tank that those shrimp want to live in. They end up doing really well. And they're very easy to take. It's really nothing you have to do once you have them. And that tank is set up and it works pretty good. There's really not a lot that you have to do. So I guess from the standpoint of upkeep, saltwater shrimp are kind of easier if you're already maintaining that tank. But yeah. Oop. I lost my mouse went flying. But realistically, freshwater shrimp are going to be much easier. It's a much easier point of entry for the average person. You really don't need that much equipment or that big of an investment. So I would always kind of recommend freshwater shrimp as the space to get into. And one of the things is people always say that saltwater is more difficult than freshwater, which might be accurate, but you can make freshwater as difficult as a reef, like a crazy fancy reef. You can make your tanks that difficult. You can do that. It's something that you can do. What I would normally recommend to people is start out with a pretty basic freshwater tank, then go to an aquascaping tank where you really are starting to learn water chemistry, testing, water changing, all that kind of stuff, and getting used to it, and then go to a reef tank. If you started at a reef tank and went through all of the trials and tribulations of a reef tank just as a starter, you could probably just go straight to aquascaping and freshwater with no problem. But it's incrementally, you want to work your way up the ladder kind of is the way to go. Also, almost everything in saltwater aquariums will give sticker shock to people. You're talking about $2,000 lights, right? And people are like, what? Oh my God, lights for $2,000? There's a light bulb over there. It costs 99 cents. What are you talking about, right? So sticker shock is what normally throws people off for reef tanks. Elephanto King Superb. I feel like you're always trolling me. Talk about all the aquarium fish you have eaten so far and rate the best tasting one. I don't even have an answer for that. I don't know. I've eaten a lot of farm raised fish. I've eaten a lot of. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, man. I eat sushi all the time. I eat sushi on Saturday. So, you're You want me to just name all of the fish that I've ever eaten? The list is gigantic. So I've never eaten a fish like directly out of somebody's tank, if that's what you're saying. So I don't know. But I guess it's a good troll because you just, like, we just had to talk about it, you know? I guess I'll scroll back up a little bit. I've tried using aquarium lights for my houseplants and found them weak. For many plants, my fish tanks are actually ran by grow lights because I like the increased light strength. Not sure what lights you're using, but I mean, obviously it's gonna be situational for which lights you're using, right? If you use like an incandescent bulb, and then compare it to like a 500 watt LED or something, right? It's gonna be vastly different, and you can't really like prescribe that across all lights, right? How they're all different. It's like if you were to drive. It's like if you were to drive a 1978 Volkswagen and be like, "Wow, all cars are slow and stupid and don't work very good," right? You know. Shauna G says, "Yep, I did that. I started with the Reef." Oh my god. OMG. I'm guessing that Shauna G. I'm gonna give a shout out to Shauna G. Shauna G became a member or a patron last week. After the show last week, Shauna G became a patron. My shout out to you. Thank you very much for becoming a patron. It's been, if you guys can believe it, it's been a half an hour since I did the patron thing. So become a patron today. Blah, you know, member. Do the member thing? Yeah, I guess. Oh, I'm supposed to. Oh no, I don't have my membership link. Oh man. Anyhow, I very much appreciate it, Shauna. Thank you very much. But that I could understand. Like, you start out with a super complex reef, and people normally get super discouraged. Not only because of the cost is the big thing. And people will normally say, like, it's the how complex it is, which realistically, like, reef tanks aren't that complex. Like, if you have a basic understanding of water chemistry and things, you're generally going to be fine. Like, there just isn't that much. It's not that complex. But it's the sticker shock that throws people off. Like, they're like, "Oh my god, you're paying $80 for a bucket of salt," and it's like, but yeah. But generally, like, a 5-gallon bucket of salt is probably going to cost at least $40 or something, you know? Like, hold on. Bucket of salt. How much is just a regular bucket of salt? I've only ever bought it in the 2-pound boxes, or the 8-pound boxes. Let's see. Where's just, like, regular salt? Regular old bucket of salt. Real salt? Nature salt? Oh my god, real salt is food grade real salt is more expensive than most reef salt. It's $85.55 for a, how big is this bucket? This bucket does not look like a 5-gallon bucket, my folks. 10 pounds kosher salt is $86. What has happened to the salt market, my friends? Reef salt's only $80, and this is Red Sea. Oh my god. Oh my god, guys. I'm just coming to the rude awakening here that, like, if you were going to buy a 5-gallon bucket of just food grade sea salt, it's going to cost the same as reef salt. Oh my god. We've had a revelation during the show here today. I just put 2 and 2 together in my brain parts, and I'm realizing that a 26-ounce bag of real salt, right, is $8. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm going to yell at every person forever now that you've been buying You've been buying salt for yourself. That's as expensive as sea salt or as reef salt. Yeah, here's a 40. Okay, here's an actual 5-pound bucket of ice melt, which is not food grade salt. So this is kind of trashy garbage salt, and it's still $29. So $30, right? Oh my God, there's one on sale for $20. Okay, well there we go. So I guess you could buy trash salt for 20 bucks, I guess, plus tax. Whatever your tax is, I don't know. Where do you live? How much? Paywalls for pirates. Can you put reef salt on French fries? Here's the thing. I would imagine it. I'm not recommending it because I don't know if there's something toxic in there, but I've eaten reef salt before. Basically, like on a as a gaffe or a joke or a ha-ha or whatever you want to call it. A dare, maybe? So I wonder if reef salt is, like, toxic at all. Is reef salt toxic? To humans. It's all like, is it to cats or dogs? Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything that says. That's not helpful for, like, people eating it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything that says that it's toxic to humans. Frequently asked questions. How's the frequently asked questions? How's the frequently asked questions a form to send an email? Why is my phone going off? What are you doing? There's certain times when I just feel like I want to throw my phone out the window when I get 900 notifications for nonsense. Okay. Yes. It's like the one person I follow on Patreon. No, not true. I have 5 people. 7 people. 7 people I follow on Patreon, or that I am a patron for. And somebody's just, one of them is uploading all of these updates, and it's making my phone go off. And I can see why people, like, get rid of notifications. I know why people get rid of notifications. It makes sense, you know? I almost accidentally played a song that's going to get us a copyright strike. Let's pause that. We'll close that. Close this. Okay, anyhow. Back to whatever it was we were talking about, which I have no clue now. I've lost my train of thought. I started yelling about my phone and stuff, and I lost my train of thought. We'll go back to the comments, and we'll see what's up. It's not good to drink a lot of seawater, so I don't know. Well, that's mainly just because of the salt concentration. You're not supposed to get that much salt. That salt intake is bad. But I'm just saying, like, you put a little salt on your fries, you're probably going to be fine. It's how much salt is in that water that is toxic to you. Which, if you just ate that much salt, that would be toxic also. Costco salt is really cheap. I've always bought it by the big, like, flat. You know what I mean? Like, for restaurant use and stuff, as I was a chef for a really long time. That's why it was kind of weird to ask, like, what fish have I eaten? It's like, I was a chef for 18 years or something. So, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I've eaten lots of different kinds of fish. I don't know which. It's just going to be a crazy long list that we'll never get to the end of it. How about this? If we get to 1,000 paying subscribers or whatever, people sponsoring the channel, we'll talk about it. Aqua Blue Bear says, I had a few Amano shrimp in one of my guppy tanks for 18 months, but want the cool ones that will breed without messing around, but they are tiny. You know, the best advice that I can give for that is typically, you know, cherry shrimp. So any of the Neocaridinus are going to be kind of your best bet to breed as sort of a hobbyist. They're the most resilient. They breed prolifically. They're pretty easy to get a hold of. They're commonly around. And they're not like crazy expensive. So those are the ones that I normally recommend. A mono shrimp are wildly difficult to breed, realistically. You're going to put a ton of effort in and a very low reward. And you need multiple tanks. You can't just breed them in just a freshwater tank. Whereas cherry shrimps, you don't have to get other tanks and other setups and different salinities of water. You don't have to do any of that stuff. I think it's toxic due to enhanced mineral in most. Well, if there's enhanced mineral in reef salt, that's possible, but I think it's more just like the quality of the reef salt, right? I mean, they might have enhanced mineral, but there should be enhanced mineral in sea salt, right? There should be a ton of minerals in seawater. So the sea salt that is dried. Oh my God, I just realized. I bet people are going to watch that segment from earlier and be like, this guy is an idiot. Which I'll admit, yeah, sometimes I am an idiot. I just realized right now that, like, sea salt is just dried seawater. So it has all the minerals in it and stuff. It's the same. Oh my God, I'm so dumb. Why didn't anybody in the chat know that? Why didn't anybody in the chat mention that? Yeah. Oh, no, Paywalls for Pirates did. I think all natural salt must be the same thing. It's likely the same thing. It's probably close. They probably just add a little bit extra magnesium and calcium and stuff like that to reef salt, so it's probably fine. I just don't eat it, though. Why not? Just don't. You probably have regular salt. Just eat that. So it would be what fish you ain't ate. Yeah, that's probably a shorter list. Honestly, that's probably a shorter list. Then yeah, it's probably a shorter list of the ones that I haven't eaten. I mean, to the point that, like, I've eaten sea cucumbers, like, just out of the ocean, you know? So, yeah. Use pickling salt or ice cream salt from a brine shrimp, whatever's available, slightly fewer pennies. Yeah, I always used pickling salt because I have a plethora of that almost at all times because of Vicky. So, like, we have these giant pickling salt containers. And don't tell her, but I may or may not have stolen tiny little bits of her pickling salt. I don't think it's stealing, though, because we are bonded, you know? Because we bonded. Just eat coral. Don't eat salt. Yeah, don't eat coral. That is for sure toxic. That will for sure probably kill you. We'll see is here. I wish my water was more suitable for guppies without chasing numbers to make it work. So the easiest thing for me has been because my water's super soft. I basically just add bags of crushed coral into the sump, and that is typically all the buffer that I need. It's just like 2 of the 2-pound bags. Those little zipper bags. I normally just add 2 of those to like about 150 gallons of water. So divide by whatever size your tank is to get a number for your situation from that. Yeah. New Northwest Aqua Hobby says, I love the moist tattoo goal. Late to the show today. Yeah, I'll make a video about it too. We'll make a video driving up to get the tattoo. I'll probably interview the tattooer because he's a buddy of mine, and we'll promote his tattoo shop. That you could go there and get a moist tattoo of your own. You could go to the exact place because it is a public business, and you could go there, and then you could get tattooed by the same guy. And then you could ask him, hey, is Corvus crazy? And he'll be like, who are you talking about? They'll be like, oh, is Joel crazy? And they'll be like, yeah, kind of. If you guys are wondering, it'll be, his name is Jeffels, long for Jeffrey is Jeffels. That's my boy. We grew up across the street from each other. Starting in like sophomore grade or freshman grade or something like that. I don't know. Somewhere around that whatever age you are around then. We not across the street, but he was like on the other side of the street, way down the road. Yeah. And, so that guy's, I've known that guy forever. He's a great dude. I love him to death. I love that guy. I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more just to help Jeffrey with something if he needed it. I would. That's my boy. Love that guy. We have a problem here, folks. We have a problem that needs to be attended to. This number over here is incorrect. 77 is not correct. We have reached the pinnacle of 78. YouTube members as Beta Splendens. No, Beta Splenda, as in the artificial sugar. Beta Splenda has joined our club, our exclusive club that you could join too. Thank you for becoming a member. I very much appreciate it. Now you've got your now you've got your green arrow. Now you got to work your way up to a new badge. Yeah. Alana Suki says, how is your little one doing with writing her letters? Could we get her to write the moist tattoo? She's not good enough yet. We've started the pre-K. The pre-K? I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, I have no clue what she's supposed to be doing. I have no clue. I have ideas. I have, like, interpretations of, like, where Olivia should be. Is she pre-K? I mean, she just turned 3. Does that mean that she's supposed to be in pre-K? Is she supposed to be in Montessori? Is she supposed to be in soccer? Is she supposed to be in, like, what is she supposed to be doing? I'm like a clueless old man. And, I feel like she's smart. She can definitely, she can't read yet. She can identify things, and she can count to 20. It's starting to click in her mind, because I keep working with her on the, like, if I have 5 and we add 5, what do we have? And then she goes 5. And I go like, yeah, but I have this many. And then she'll count them up to 10 and go 10. She's starting to learn the concept of adding some of them together. So, I feel like, she seems pretty smart, but I don't know, like, where she's supposed to be at, like, developmentally. She memorizes books. Even though she can't read them, like, we read them to her, and then she knows what's going on throughout the book. So she does this thing where she goes, I want to read the book to you. And then she'll go page by page and, like, tell you about what's going on in the books that she knows. And the story is pretty close. It's not 100% accurate, but she's definitely, like, recognizing this page, and then this is where this story goes. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I feel like she's pretty smart. She's moving around. I think one of the things is people say that she's kind of small for her age, which may be true. I just have no comparison. I have no comparison because, like, she was hanging out with a friend of ours' kid a while ago, and I was like, wow, Olivia is really small. And then, like, I found out that their kid was like 4.5. So she's like a year and a half older than Olivia. So it's like, well, of course you should be smaller, like that's a big gap when you're young. You're full grown, a year and a half is nothing, but when you're that young, that's a big gap. But then, you know, right when she turned 3, she was like hanging out with someone that was 3, but they were about 2 weeks away from their 4th birthday. So it was like, well, there's a year gap there. So I don't know. Maybe she is small, but I don't know. Her doctor says she's healthy. It's fine. So it's all good. Alana says she's supposed to be coloring, playing, having fun, starting to use scissors, reading books with you. Yes, we're doing all of those things. All of those, check on all of those things. The scissors, she's learning to use scissors. It's a struggle, a bit. But it's more like the coordinated scissor using. It's like cutting stuff wrong and then being upset that it's all funky. Yeah. Northwest Aqua Hobby says, why do you have so many more patrons than members? Curious, why is there such a difference? The patron has been around longer, and there was a much bigger push for Patreon long before the pandemic, right? YouTube members has only been around for like 2 years. Well, no, maybe 3 years now. Pandemic timing has got me all screwed up. We used to have a lot more patrons. They've been dropping off over the years. The pandemic was about... So the pandemic... Okay. The pandemic affected the YouTube channel in this way. And I'll explain it very easily. In about a 2-month period between March, April, May. So probably March, April, May of 2020, we dropped by 58% support. Simple as that. Close to 60. Over time, it was 60, but in that 2 months, YouTube and Patreon support dropped by 58%, which I have to admit, at the time, I was shook up about it. I was pretty depressed about it. Like, it pissed me off. And I was upset because it seemed to be half of the people had lost their jobs. The other half of the people were the kind of people who are still making fun of people for wearing masks in public. And hopefully that sort of clarifies it a little bit. Initially, I was pretty upset. I was kind of depressed about it. I don't know how to have a good word for it. It was just like, it was depressing, right? That so many people were just like hanging around as a supporter or whatever, and they were kind of unhinged. And then the other half of the people lost their money, you know? And so it was a double whammy of kind of depression, right? Is that a lot of people lost their jobs, which sucks and makes me sad. And I was upset by that. And then I was upset by how many people sent me like all of these insane messages about just, F you, you're a piece of trash for wanting to help protect people around you. And me, trying to have like a level of argumentation of just like, look, man, do you think all medical science is wrong? Oh, no, it's just this one thing because you're listening to an insane rich kid from an insane family. This, and it's very weird. It's very weird. It's very discouraging to see what is happening in the United States. Just how many people are just so wildly emboldened from this ostensively like alt-right behavior that is going on. And it just is what it is, and I've just kind of learned to accept it at this point. Some of those people have come back. Some of those people have just stayed gone. And even to this day, I think I was in a co-op video a little while ago. something to do with me working on the store remodel there. We're expanding the store, and Jimmy and Dean came by to check out what was going on and kind of see what's happening and kind of film a little bit of content for you guys and that kind of stuff. And a perfect example is we're 2 years out now. It's been 2 years of an ongoing pandemic. You know, I looked at the numbers the other day. We're still losing like 2,000 people a day, or 2,000 people a day, or 1,500 people a day in the U.S., right? All of the United States. To COVID, like we're all just sort of numb to it at this point, and it's turned into us versus them, and it's just wild. And it's just, you know, it's honestly, you know, it's honestly wild that one group is like, I guess all scientists are liars, even though they're happy to like drive their car around and eat food and do all this stuff. You know, it's weird. It's very weird. But I was in that video, and the weird thing is that, you know, there's a bunch of people that started popping up in the comments of this insane negativity about people wearing masks, right? Of just very like unwarranted, right? And it's, you know, the simple explanation there is that the Aquarium Co-op is a business. It is a business in Snohomish County, Washington. In Snohomish County, Washington, there is a mask mandate for workers and places of business open to the public. That you're supposed to be wearing a mask. That is what's going on. Now, people could argue whatever the hell they want to argue, wherever you want to argue it, whatever, okay? But if there is a mandate in place for businesses to operate properly and not get into and basically not get into trouble or get a fine or whatever, we're just going to follow the rules of business, right, in the area. And that's what we were doing. So when I'm at work, I wear a mask. If I go to a store, I wear a mask because I'm out in the public, and the public doesn't need me to breathe all over them for them to have their day continue on, right? And it's a very simple, basic action that you can do. Went and got my haircut today. The barbershop has a mask requirement. You wear a mask, you go in there. I was at the barbershop with a contractor, a guy in uniform, an in-uniform soldier. There was an older gentleman there, and I think one more soldier waiting. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm in there with the military. I'm in there with private contractor. There was like the older gentleman was a businessman. It was pretty clear. But all of the people in there were just respectful enough. Wear a mask. That's what's going on. Go in, get your hair cut, bada-bada, pay for it, and leave. Take your mask off when you leave and just go off. It's not a big deal. But it's that kind of stuff that has incited people to no longer sponsor my channel. And the reality behind that, the reality that I feel is I go, okay, those were probably people that I just didn't, it's probably for the best, realistically. It's the same thing as like when people have problems with me and they come in all hostile into the chat, I'll give them an opportunity. I'll give them an opportunity to go back and forth. We can have a talk, da-da-da-da. As soon as they start threatening violence and whatnot, you got to go. That's it. We're done, And I honestly feel like most people live their lives by some kind of standard like that, and I think you should. I think if you're engaging with people and they decide to bring to the table like the potential of violence and whatnot, just walk away, man. I'm an adult. The other people are supposedly adults. Why are you acting like a 5-year-old? You know, and so it's kind of one of those things. It's kind of one of those things that could be depressing. It could be sad, but it just kind of just is at this point. I think it was Beta Splenda that brought it up earlier, that it's not as bad here as it is in Ukraine, and that I think that I don't want to put words into somebody's mouth. Yeah, it was Beta Splenda. That like, yeah, it's not as bad here as it is in Ukraine, and that's right. We're not being invaded by a foreign force. There's no tanks on the ground attacking us or anything like that. We're trying to battle a virus, and unfortunately, like 20% of the U.S. population is completely uninterested in realistically caring about their fellow man or woman, or whatever verbiage you want to put on it, human. And it's unfortunately the biggest part of that group are the people that claim to be following the teachings of whatever religious figure you want to put out there. And that's unfortunate to me. That's incredibly unfortunate. You know, and it makes me sad. It makes me really sad, because I feel like if people are willing to, you know, ascribe those religious beliefs to the entirety of their life, cool. But you got to do it at all times. Otherwise, what's the point? You know? New Local Austin says, I think masks are important. I am glad you feel the same way. You know, the reality is that no one ever questioned wearing surgical masks, wearing dust masks, wearing respirators, wearing any of that stuff up until a few months after COVID had begun, and it suddenly came from the right-wing wackos to start questioning it, right? Like, and at every point in time, it has been, you know, us versus them, this crazy nonsense, you know, and it's just sad. It's just ridiculously sad that people watch stuff like Tucker Carlson, listen to the crazy crafted talking points that they put together, and then run with it, you know. Darko Leschop, I could never say your name right the first time. Leskovchik. It says it's pretty nutty sleeping a couple 100 miles away from Putin's nukes. Yeah, man. Yeah, I would find that difficult. I would find that difficult to deal with in a realistic way. We have to update the moist tattoo number, though. I'm doing that while I talk to you. 220 out of 500. We're getting closer. I'm going to have to get tattooed. And I'm going to have to make the YouTube video about it, too, which is going to be funny. Because it depends on where I get it tattooed, how funny that joke is going to be, right? You know, it like I said, my heart goes out to everybody there. I'm not sure what I'm going to say about it is even going to change anybody's opinion or anything like that. I would in my opinion, do your best to support Ukraine as best you can. In the facility that in the way that you think that you can facilitate aid or whatever. You know, it might just boil down to you talking to other people. It might come down to that, you know. Yeah. S says Russia is overextended, though. It is true that they are facing a lot of economic hardships, but you know, that's true. But let's also keep in mind that they're far from having expelled all of their options. You know, I'll put it that way. I'll put it that way. And somebody asked me, they go, do you think Putin could really be that bad of a guy? And I've brought this up on numerous occasions, is that do you think Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer or John Wayne Gacy or whatever, any of those serial killers, those are real people, right? Like we don't have to talk about the Third Reich, like we don't have to talk about any of that stuff. I'm just talking about these individual crazy people, right? Like, they have existed, right? Chances are that Putin is probably of the mental construction. I don't know how to explain that, but like, is Putin very similar to a guy like Ted Bundy, who's willing to do these insanely horrific acts, right? Is that what's going on? Because those guys existed, and they were willing to do like extraordinarily horrific things, and it seems pretty clear that he's willing to do extraordinarily horrific things. It's already horrific invading and attacking Ukraine. Like, that is horrific, and this isn't even the first time, right? There's a lot of Rump supporters out there that are saying that Biden is weak and this wouldn't have happened during Trump, but Putin was bombing and rocket attacking Ukraine when he was in office, when Trump was in office. So, what are you talking about? Is my thing. It's ridiculous. Northwest Aqua Hobby says, I support you, new member. I'll be off and on and support as I can. Oh my God, we have another member today. What are we going to do? What are we going to do if we end up with too many members? I'm going to get a moist tattoo on my body, which actually is, realistically, I look forward to it. I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of look forward to it. I want to make a YouTube video about getting tattooed moist on me and just see what happens. The beta says Putin as lost plot after 2 years of pandemic isolation. I think it's how old is that guy? Is Putin, because he was like KGB trained, so he is pretty. He's been around a long time. He's 69. Nice. 69 years old. So he's been around a long time. I think he lost the plot about 50 years ago for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a reality, the guy's been around a long time. He's 69 years old. He's been around a long time. Lost the plot a long time ago. He's at a point where he's trying to do these wild like lifetime goal crazy nonsense that he's trying to do. And it's just wild. As a reminder, our likes are only at 24 and there's 39,000 people watching. So we should have a higher number, right? New Local Austin says achievements unlocked. That's right. New Local Austin says, am I a ghost? I thought this Monday was going so smooth. Am I dead? No, you're not dead. I don't know. Alana Suki was saying you're not seeing your chat. Alana Suki had the top chat turned on, which I don't know why they brought in the top chat feature on YouTube. It makes no sense. I always have to switch it to live chat. Top chat makes no sense. I don't know why that feature exists. I guess it's ridiculous. So if you look up at the top of your chat, there's a button there that says top chat or live chat with a little downward facing arrow thing. And that's the thing. I don't know why it's there. I don't know what the benefit is other than people get confused. That's it. That's the only thing, I guess. Maybe YouTube thinks that's beneficial to people, that like people are confused and they're like making this face. Huh? What's this button? Like I guess that's good. Who was it that popped in? Somebody popped in and said ADHD Aquatics says, what is polyculture? I mean, it's a perfect name It's a perfect name for popping in an hour and a half into a live stream. We already talked about polyculture. You're going to have to go back and watch the beginning, ADHD. And we could go through it again, but I feel like we spent some time. We spent the better part of an hour talking about it, and now we're talking about other stuff. Yeah. Because this show is powered by the chat. Realistically, like I'll go down the rabbit holes as you guys talk about them, and that's fine by me. It can be sad to see that as humans, we are only as good as our least members. Well, it's a big part of like human affectation of like watching the car crash, and a lot of that has to do with just the human evolution over the years, like through the eons, basically. Our lives were so precariously. Our lives are so precariously. Actually, let me rephrase that. Our lives were so precarious for so many thousands of years, depending on what position you had. You could have often just been murdered. 1,000 years ago, if you got murdered, no one even. It just is what it is. They would have moved on. And humans existed like that for tens of thousands of years, and for what, like, how long? 60,000 years or something? 30,000 years, whatever it is. And we evolved to be freaking out over whatever wacky drama is going on because our lives were on the line for so long, you know? Lorcan Tom Wing says was in Top Chat all along. Yeah, like I said, the Top Chat feature makes no sense to me, and I just don't get it. I don't get the upside. Darko is in Slovenia. It's next to Austria and Italy. True. I've been to Austria. Very nice. Never been to Slovenia. I would love to go there someday, though. Honestly. I'd love to visit. Brandon says, can I get your input? I have Sierra Stone, plus or minus 10 pounds, and want to do Caridinus or Tybee. Should I take the stone out, or is it okay if I do water change once a week? Sierra Stone's not going to like vastly alter your water, realistically. If you're doing water changes, you'll be fine. I've never had it. I've never had any of the Sierra Stone I've owned, except for one piece that was weird. Had a bunch of calcified crap on it, which should have been obvious. But if you don't have a bunch of calcified stuff on there, you're probably really realistically fine. Northwest Aqua Hobby says, "What is your longest stream?" I think like probably. What's my longest stream? I don't know, maybe like 3-4 hours or something like that is probably the longest. I mean, really get to a point where there's just not that much to talk about. And I have other things to do. I have full-time jobs. So, there's a lot of times where we get to the 2-hour mark and it's kind of like, well, I guess I better go back to work or whatever. But today, I don't have any obligations this evening specifically. So we have time. It's normally those really long streams have revolved around like maximum super chats. To be brutally honest, if somebody super chats $500 and you're like, cool, I guess I'll see you guys later, it does feel really, really weird. So the long ones are normally like, if somebody supports a long stream, I'll do a longer stream. And, one of the things with somebody was asking me, they were like, if you hit 1,000 support, because I've mentioned it before, if I hit 1,000 paying supporters, I'll go full time on YouTube. And they were like, well, what is that? What involves that? And it's like making YouTube edited videos, and doing live streams. And I would probably dedicate much longer periods to doing live streams so that we could do like research streams, goofy streams, stuff like that. But I currently can't dedicate the time to it because like today, a big part of my day today is doing drawings for the store expansion at the aquarium co-op. So I'm doing a bunch of clickety click and scribbly scribbles with rulers and whatnot, and just making sure that I have all my orders in place. I do need to get more measurements tomorrow, because tomorrow the store actually gets bigger. Hot take, guys. I know that Corey mentioned it on a live stream. So it is public knowledge. I'm not giving you guys not public knowledge, just so you guys know. There was another location by the store that we have acquired. The business has moved out of there, but they're not moved out until tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll be expanding even further. So I'm excited for the next couple months with getting stuff rocking and rolling with the store expanding and expanding and expanding. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be pretty cool to have like in-person stuff at the stores and stuff like that. So that's going to be pretty cool. Lorcan Tom Wing says, look forward to these live streams. Nothing quite like doing some trimming/maintenance while listening to the stream. Well, right on. Appreciate it. I've got so many posted up that there is sometimes where I'm like, there's a bunch of them up there posted. I guess go watch or listen to some of the old ones, I guess. I don't know if you're like running out of content. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people doing live streams now. So there's a lot more competition out there for sure. People are doing podcasts and live and da-da-da-da and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Alana says Corey is going to have that whole strip. Yeah, I mean, I think doubtful. The two other spaces that are occupied, well, I guess there's three others. No, sorry, scratch that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 other spaces in that strip there. And the other ones are pretty successful. So chances are probably not. But I'm excited for it. And I think you guys should be excited for it too. It'll be pretty good. S says, like another store? So the aquarium co-op is actually getting bigger. I don't know if you guys... you guys know that? I work for the aquarium co-op. I don't know if you guys know that. I work for them. I'm not obligated by aquarium co-op to do any kind of specific things on stream or anything like that, other than not tell you guys not public information about stuff, which I don't tell you guys about not public stuff. So it's like, have I ever mentioned not public stuff? You guys would be like what? And then I'll be like, oh, like this thing that I never mentioned. Yeah. Keep waiting for co-op to make an announcement that Corey bought the building outright. That will not happen, I don't think. Northwest Aqua Hobby says, do you work at the co-op full time? I work for the aquarium co-op. I guess the easiest way to explain it is I work 3 full days for the aquarium co-op a week. They are the entire day though. Just so you guys understand, it's like I get up at my alarm goes off at 3:45. I get out of bed, I get ready, I have a snack, I load all my tools into my truck, I drive up to the aquarium co-op. I work all day. I work over 10 hours a day. Then I drive back down, and I get home at about 7 p.m. in the evening. So it's the whole time. You know, it's the whole thing. So yeah. Yeah, it normally takes me about 2 hours to get up to the co-op. Or it takes me about 2 hours to get up to the warehouse. So as I I try to get there by 6, but depending on traffic, and then 6 to noon is 6 hours, noon to 4 is 4 hours. That's 10, and I normally leave at like 5:30 or whatever. Currently gluing some Anubias to Nana Hardscape. Or currently gluing some Anubias Nana to Hardscape. Why did that come out all weird? What's wrong with me? Yeah. Yeah, so the weird thing is, like, if that whole strip was the aquarium co-op, it would be pretty massive. It'd be a lot more massive than it seems. From the outside, you're like, yeah, it's just a little strip mall. But then when you start adding up the square footage, it'd be a little bit crazy. But yeah, I don't even think there's any intention on buying that property. It's a pretty monolithic. It's a giant property. It's a giant property, and I got to explain to you guys, like, real estate in the area that we're in. It's the most expensive in the world, and it's the most competitive in the world. I've been trying to move up north so I don't have to drive 3-4 hours a day for work and stuff like that, for work and projects. Just to give you an idea, like, I never thought in my wildest dreams that we would be trying to buy a $600,000 house. Okay? It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, but it's what exists. One of the houses that we found was $595,000. I drove out there and looked at it. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. In the area that we're in, you got to have earnest cash. You got to have pre-approval. You got to have your financing done. You got to have everything ready to go. And then you got to make an offer in like a half an hour. You will lose out if you do inspections. You'll lose out if you... It's crazy. Anyhow, I was like going like this, rubbing my forehead, going like, okay, I guess maybe we offer like $675, and I'm getting all sweaty, right? I'm like going like, good Lord. That's like $3,000. That's like $3,000 a month in mortgage. I'm getting sweaty. I'm getting stressed out. We go, screw it. We're going to 700, right? We're gonna try to get them to take it off the market. We're gonna give them an offer that they can't refuse. We're gonna give them an offer that they can't refuse. You know? Then after so we were the first offer. We were trying to blow them out of the water, trying to get them off the market, because we've been through a whole bunch of other houses already trying to buy houses. Then they're playing games. They don't want to review it by the time that we put the expiration on it. So then we got to extend. We got to extend our expiration, like, okay, because the listing agent said they couldn't get a hold of the owner to see if they wanted to take the offer or not. So we extend it. In the time that it was extended, they got 3 more offers. Oh, shock of the century, guys! It's the shock of the century. I was so shocked I passed out on the floor. Woke up a little while later. Oh my gosh! Oh my God! I'm shocking, right? They got 3 more offers. Then they go, oh, well, we've got 3 more offers. Can you raise your like? So we go around, we crunch a bunch of numbers. We go to 710, which is pure insanity. And somebody put in an offer for like like I think they went 759, like 760, right? And it's just like, I don't know what to do at this point, you know? Like, I'm not going to offer my firstborn child. I'm not going to offer, like, physical favors. Did you catch my drift? I don't know what to offer at this point, you know? And it is discouraging, you know? It's like, it's crazy. So, hopefully that gives you an idea of what the market value is of where the aquarium co-op is and just how crazy it would be to try and buy that property, right? For the longest time, that property was listed for sale, and it was for sale for like, you know what? I forget the number. I don't know what it was, but it was millions, and it has only gone through the roof comparatively. Some of the peeps were talking about it on the Discord earlier. Just how insane the housing prices are. They are just going through the roof. And to those of you out there that think that the market is going to correct, the perfect point was made earlier today. This isn't people with zero down, right? This is people putting down like 300, 400, 500 cash, right? So they're not even worried about financing. They're putting down tons of money, immediate equity, blah, blah, blah. It's just wild. It's just wild stuff. One of the properties that we were trying to buy was listed at $575. We went up there, we looked at it, we liked it, we wanted to put in an offer, blah, blah, blah. And somebody came in $795,000, 5 short of $800,000. Cash money, no financing, no inspection, no nothing. Here's $800,000 cash, right? I don't know, man. I guess there's just a bunch of like drug dealers or whatever like moving to the area. I don't know what it is. I don't know where people have $800,000 to just cash buy a house. But I was listening to a financing report the other day while I was working, and it seems to be one of the things that people are doing is they're cashing out their properties that they bought in like 1980 for basically $0, $20,000. They're like, buy a house for $20,000 in 1980, raise their kids in it, live there, it's paid off. Now it's worth $1 million. And they sell it, and they take that money, and then they go buy another house with cash, and then they turn around and do a cash out refi on the house, so they can pull the money. They can pull money back out, and then they still have basically like, what do you call it, equity position or whatever, So it's a cash out refi. I'll let you pull out like 80% or something like that, so you'll still have no PMI or any of that kind of stuff. So it is what it is, but it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. All I want to do is we just want to move to be in range for work and all that kind of stuff, and it's just nuts. Northwest Aqua Hobby says, I feel you. I live on Whidbey Island. My brother can't find anything in his budget. See, here's the thing. Like, I would move to Whidbey Island if I didn't have to take a ferry to get to work. There's a lot of stuff on Whidbey Island we could probably afford. Same thing with like Oak Harbor. There's stuff that we could afford, but it's just a different drive or a boat ride. I can't do the boat ride. Like, I've ridden the Kingston ferry like 1,000,000 times, and I can't do it. I can't. I can't do that boat ride. I can't have one car on one side and all this kind of crazy nonsense. It's just not possible. I can't put all my tools onto the truck, onto the boat. Like, I know how much that costs. How much does a truck Whidbey Island ferry cost? Let's see. Mukilteo to Clinton. Is that right? Mukilteo to Clinton. I think that's Whidbey ferry, right? Fair description. One adult, right? One adult. Vehicle. Vehicle under 25. Vehicle under 14. Let's see. Well, let's just go vehicle under 22. Standard vehicle and driver. Right? 1. Is that right? Is it just vehicle and driver is $10.10? That doesn't make any sense because I've taken my truck onto the ferry and it was way more than $10.10. Is that accurate? That can't be right. Oh, display round trip cost. There we go. Is it $10.10 for a truck to just go onto the Mukilteo ferry? It's like $13. Oh, okay, so it's got tax on it. Okay. Okay. Well, it's so it's $13 each way. Yeah, so it's 22. It's 222222. It's 2222 or something like that, I think. Is that right? Maybe it's like $13. I don't know what the hell it is. But either way, every time you got to go to work, it's $13 each way. That's crazy town, dude. Oh, and then summertime prices go up. That's fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, it's too much, man. That's too much. And getting stuck at ferry traffic is like mind-bending. Yeah, and then summertime prices go up. Yeah, it's a nightmare. I can't do it. I just can't. It's not you, it's me. I can't do it. I just can't. It's like 8 for my little fit and me on that ferry. Yeah, well, cool. Oh my God, what is this? I'm getting a notification again. Oh, I gotta go feed the chickens. Oh man, hey man, bummer news in the chicken world. One of our chickens died this weekend. I don't know what happened. After all the inspecting and trying to figure out what was going on there, one of our chickens just randomly died. Very weird. Very weird. I don't mean to be laughing at the death of a chicken or whatever, but like, one of them just keeled over. And my mom was here. Grandma was here, and she was like, "Hey, one of your chickens is laying over there funny." And yeah, I mean, it just said like clunked over dead. I don't know what happened. It's a mystery of mysteries. No clear wounds or cold or disease or anything like that was going on. It just had kicked the bucket. And I think the unfortunate thing is like sometimes chickens don't live forever, so we just have to understand that. And yeah, so the other chickens are fine. It's just the one just gave up on doing it. Jacob Richardson says moist. That's right. The moist tattoo goal. That's right. Aqua Hobby works on the island. No way in the hell I could commute on that ferry. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy town. I wouldn't be commuting on there. It's bonkers. But yeah, sad news. One of our unnamed chickens just keeled over. I don't know why. Still a mystery. Of course, Grandma was like, was it too cold? I'm like, maybe it was hypothermic. I don't know. It was just outside, keeled over. I don't know. Very weird. Very weird stuff. All right, we got 2 new members today, and chat is dragging along here. I even talked about the dead chickens. Let's see. I've been in the voice channel all day today, and no one has even stopped in to say hi on Discord. Come on. Where's somebody at? Is anybody calling in today? Um, oh, well, it sounds like Dave and family are going to a cool thing. That'll be fun. Do any of the chickens have names? Yes, some of the chickens do have names, mainly because they've been around so long. Okay, here's the thing. Our chickens don't really have names because we have owned chickens. We own a bunch of chickens, and it believe me when I say, if you buy like 10 chickens of the same variety, as they grow up, they are all pretty much the same. They don't really have that many identifying characteristics about them. That being said, if they do develop some kind of identifying characteristic where you could go, oh, like that's a Martha or something, you can end up with a name. Now, some of our chickens that have names is because they've developed specific characteristics, or they have gone to the vet. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you take a critter of some kind to the vet for some kind of checkup or a whatever, like, they have to have a name. They have to put a name down. So some of our chickens have names because they've been to the vet. One of them is named Feather. We do have a memorial thing, and we did get one of our chickens cremated. That was the first chicken that Vicky ever hatched from an egg. That chicken's name was Booger, and Booger was our matriarchal chicken. Now, this chicken was huge chicken, basically a small turkey, big and white, like all grumpy. And Vicky had hatched that chicken from an egg like 12 or something years. Like, the chicken had lived forever. And we brought Booger over when we got our little baby chicks, so that we would have an old bird that could show the other chickens what to do. And because Booger was no longer laying eggs, Booger was living with Vicky's dad's flock, and he was like, this chicken's not laying anymore, so you guys either got to take her, or it's off to the old the old chicken farm in the sky kind of situation, right? And so we had Booger, and Booger had been with us forever, and then Booger died last year. And the vet where we went to, they were like, "Do you want to get her cremated?" And Vicky was like, "Yeah, actually I do." I think the cost was like $75 or something like that. It's really not like a crazy thing, but they give you a footprint. They give you a footprint, and it was the same thing with Mr. Chips. When Mr. Chips died last year, we have a footprint. We have a footprint of Mr. Chips. We got him cremated because I want Mr. Chips' ashes. He has a little footprint and his collar and his favorite toy and that kind of stuff, and we put it into a little case because I love Mr. Chips, and I miss him. I miss him a lot. I miss Booger, but Booger is a chicken. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's kind of sad that Booger died, but it's still really bothering. It still really bothers me that Mr. Chips had passed away. Makes me really sad. I really do. as much as I love my fish tanks, I love my fish, I love my puffer, I love my guppies, I love my shrimp, I love my plants, I love all that stuff. Mr. Chips was with me all the time when I was home. So if I was sitting in my chair watching TV, he was with me. If I was out in the fish room, he was with me. If I was out in the yard, he was with me. When I went to bed, I don't like dogs on the bed, but Mr. Chips and Biddy sleep on the bed with us. So yeah, I mean, I miss my little dog buddy a lot. I really miss that guy, and yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get another dog. I mean, probably. Chances are high. But I miss that guy. Oh my God, Jacob. It would help if I could read and speak with my mouth whole. Jacob Richardson became a member. Oh my God, we're up to 80 members today. I have to change both numbers. Oh my God, guys, 80 members. That we're only 20 away from 100 again. We were at 100 once. It happened once. I think we were at 104. I think was the best that we've ever done. Wait, no, 222, right? Okay. Oh my God, we're closer to the moist tattoo goal. It's starting to feel real, guys. We have a long distance to go, but we're getting there, which is crazy. Yeah, I mean, it is a different kind of bet. Like, you got to admit, a dog and a cat are a different kind of pet. Like, I get sad when fish die. It's a bummer. It's a real bummer. But it's not the same. It's not the same kind of situation. But some of the chickens have names because, like, there was Booger, there's Feather, and boy howdy, do the other names escape me. There's Red. Red is still with us. Feather is still with us. Two of the other named ones died, but I don't know. What were they called? One got eaten by a raccoon. One got eaten by the raccoon, and then one got fly strike, which is, by the way, the grossest disease ever of all time. We healed all the other chickens of the fly strike, but the one didn't make it. But chickens are weird, man. It's a weird flock of birds, and birds are weird. I inadvertently called them mammals at one point in time, but yes, I know that they're from the bird family, but they're just warm-blooded. You know what I mean? Like, they're warm-blooded. Ish. I mean, they're not exactly lizards, right? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I feel like they're warm-blooded, but I just started to go like, oh my God, wait a minute. I got to ask myself this question. If I'm completely getting this wrong, I'm an idiot. Like, they're warm-blooded, right? Okay, good. All right, God. I started to question myself when I had called them mammals before, and then now I just mentioned that they were warm-blooded, and I was like, oh my God, I might just be so wrong. But, yeah, okay. I start to get worried sometimes where I'm saying, like, just complete nonsense. Yeah. I mean, they're the bird family because they lay eggs, right? And they're feathers, and they don't have hair, and yada, yada, yada. But they're little warm-blooded creatures, But, yeah, they're little dinosaurs, that's for sure. I'm still kind of afraid of chickens. My cousins used to chase my grandparents' chickens, so they were always really mean and would chase me. That's true. They're tiny dinosaurs, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. But chickens are more skittish than not. I'm going to be honest with you. They're more skittish than not. Roosters will chase you. Hens are more skittish than not. Roosters are sort of attack crazed. But we don't have any roosters, so we ain't got to worry about that too much. But roosters are insane sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Northwest Aqua Hobby says, I for one am now a member for the tat. Okay, all right. Hey man, I have a tattoo that says whatever it takes on it. So, if you guys are lucky, I'll show you that one. I'll show you guys that one when I get the moist tattoo. If we get to 500, that's the goal. You know? Just because eggs go in the dairy section doesn't mean they produce milk. Yeah, I mean, I know that. Beta Splendus says I had a pair of Jack Dempsey's for 8 years. When they go, they be like losing a dog. Yeah. I mean, I can understand that. Like I said, I'm just saying, like, my perception of my relationship with my animals is that, like, if a fish dies, it is a bummer. To me, I'm not saying that this is even the right way to feel, but to me, when Mr. Chips died, it was much more traumatic than one of my fishes dying, even if I had them for a really long time. Archer's friends, that geese have more character than chickens. Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but we have family members that own geese, and you know, if it's the right time of year, it could be a real bother to be around some geese. But most of the time, they're sort of as interactive as chickens. They're just sort of dooping around, and they're just kind of over there. Unless they think you have food, and then they come over, you know. There's a local high school with that motto, wit. What? I don't understand that. Alana says, yeah, I think the one was a rooster, but I never got close enough to tell. Actually, was quite terrified of birds for most of my life. If you see bright plumage and color on a chicken-like animal, it's likely a rooster. That's generally the easy differentiation. Like big plumage, you know, green, wacky colors. Like the wacky colors don't show up on the females, you know. You know. Oh, and the other thing with the housing around here is that inventory is insanely low. And when I say inventory, I mean like the amount of places that are on the market is extraordinarily low. In basically like 2 counties worth of area, large counties, by the way, not those little tiny microscopic counties. There's like 66 homes for sale. It's not good. It's bad. These gigantic areas, there's like 66. In the area that I'm looking, there's 38 homes for sale. It's not good. It's very bad. It's wild. It's wild to just see how ridiculously bad the housing availability is. It's just like non-existent. It's crazy. It's cuckoo crazy. So that's the other bad part. The bad part is that it's extraordinarily expensive, and then there's just not many. You know what I mean? Farm yes, ducks no. They actually need a pond. That's true. That's one of the things with ducks is that you need a body of water. Otherwise, we probably would have ducks because I love duck eggs. For sure. I love duck eggs. I love duck eggs. They're so delicious. We would have ducks if we had space for them, which we do not. We have space for chickens. Haha. Which I think we have. We don't have 10 chickens. We have 9 chickens now. We have 5 older ones and 4 young ones. We had 5 young ones, and one of them just died the other day. I don't know why. Like, she wasn't egg bound. She wasn't sick. I don't know what was going on. The youngster just kicked the bucket. Sometimes chickens die, though. That's the sad thing. GBVMster. is here. Yo, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah, I think what was I'd really like to have miniature donkeys and ducks, but I need a farm and a pond. Yeah, that's yeah, like I said, I've been around donkeys and they're just annoying. I'm going to be honest with you. Donkeys are just annoying. They're just big dingbats. And there really isn't that much to do with having them around, With the chickens, we feed them our scraps, which saves us on, sending stuff to the yard waste place. We feed them food scraps. They're fun to hang around. They make eggs, right? They make fresh eggs for us. So it's just like a beneficial situation all around for us. So that's why we have chickens. We like to have them, and we have a level of symbiosis with them, right? It's sort of like polyculturing. Sorry, I forgot it was Monday from Paula. Oh, I've forgotten it was Monday too, and now you reminded me. Lumpy Dog says, I love it here. You don't have to put your shoes on to go to the bathroom, and your house is always parked in the same place. What? I'm so confused. I am just so confused. Lumpy Dog, I do not know what you're talking about. just to be clear. Yeah. Anyhow, we did get 3 new members today. Of course, everybody hit the like button. Everybody's winding down, so I'm going to wind down too. Nobody even called in. We don't have anybody call in. I don't even know why I join the voice chat anymore. I joined the voice chat because somebody can call in, and then nobody ever calls in. So what do you want me to do? Anyhow, but we do have 3 new members today. So a big shout out to John Richardson, Northwest Aqua Hobby, and Beta Splenda. We found out that Northwest Aqua Hobby is local, so maybe we can go check out their Aqua Hobby one of these days. I know that Alyssa and I were talking about going out to Redfish Bluefish at one of these points in time. Maybe we can do a whole a family trip. We can take Vicky and Olivia and Alyssa's spouse, who I don't know if she ever says his name online, so I'm just gonna say Alyssa's spouse. And we could do a whole trip out there and maybe film some YouTube videos. Maybe one of these days. I don't know. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation quote. Oh. Lorca and Tom Wing says, I didn't even know the voice chat was going. Yep. Often during the show, if you go into the Discord, I think somebody renamed it the Orange Room, which I would implore people to please stop doing that. Otherwise, I'll start locking up moderators. I'll have to start locking up moderators. I'll just have to start locking them up. Like, hey, you got none of that stuff. So, hopefully we can just leave it named the Green Room from here on out. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm guessing that it's Wesley. Oh, Alyssa says Justin. Okay, yeah. I didn't know if she said Justin online or not. So I didn't want to. I don't know. I always forget until you mention it at the end, and then it's too late. What's that? What? Oh. I mention it at the beginning of the show that I'm in the chat. And then I mention it at the end because I'm like, hey, maybe if you guys want to call in at some point in time, then we could do that. Typically, it's like most shows are motivated by people like wanting to argue are the people that want to call in, which I'm not necessarily like trying to argue with people or whatever. Like, I will argue with people if that's what they got to do, I guess. If that's what they want to do, if they're into that. Otherwise, it's just like if people want to call in and chit-chat and add to the show a little bit, like, feel free. or maybe you got a question that we could extrapolate on whatever it is via words instead of trying to type everything out on a delay, So, yeah, it's all good, baby. It's Monday. I'll be back on Friday. Unless there's some kind of I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'll be back on Friday unless there's some kind of crazy patron donation or something like that where somebody says you have to do a different show before then. So, yes. We'll be back on Friday.